How's it going? Hope you're doing as good as I'm doing today. Pretty, I wouldn't say a neutral day by any means. Had a really great time. Hung out with a lot of great homies. But it's one of those days where I'm just starting the new program. Felt a little lackluster just because if you saw last program, I was kind of rep maxing every single fucking day. So I got to get used to giving my body the availability of hitting some lightweight sometimes. Just getting into it physically. I just give it a flat 8, 7.9 actually. Let's dial it back just slightly. I was fucking up the snatches for a little bit. I was jumping forward a little too much. I was just really rushing the hell out of my second to third pull. I was trying to put all the emphasis right after I got the bar past my knees, and all the explosion is supposed to be at your waist, at that very height of the vertical pull, right before your heels come off the ground. That's where all the power goes. And I was trying to put the power in halfway through the fucking lift. Anyway, that felt great. I got it down by the end of it, which is awesome. I just had to kind of pull the bar in closer to my body, allowing myself to, I feel like my brain was working 1 second faster than my body was. So I was being a bit of a rusher. And then when it came to the bench, just felt really good. It's just a matter of I haven't done anything below, feels like 75 to 80% in months. I've been going really, really heavy for a good bit now, and as I mentioned before, it just got too heavy. It was hurting me, and it was not efficient training, so I got to dial it back a little bit. I got to give some faith to my programming, which segueing is kind of what we're going to talk about. Other than that, mentally, I'll give it a solid 8.3. I was feeling great. Again, the form was really good, and these lighter blocks definitely, you got to really make sure you give yourself positives to take away from it, because a lot of times it can feel like you're just going in to do some obligational work because it's not as heavy as you'd want it to be, or it feels a little too easy. And I haven't done 165 for sets in a while, but again, I was jumping forward because of how light it was. I was literally rushing the weight when I should have had that down. It shouldn't be hard for me to do that kind of weight, so it was good to be humbled by it and get to reroute my brain when it comes to the technique and everything. And likewise with the bench, didn't get a crazy pump, didn't feel like I was strained much, but kind of like the squats from yesterday. I need to utilize this time not to focus on it doesn't feel hard enough. I got to be okay, well, let's get my form as perfect as I can. Let's use that explosiveness. Let's get the weights really down so that when I get to the point where I can start hitting some rep max type stuff, I really deserve it. I think programming is honestly kind of like a religion in its own, where everybody has their own, again, this is kind of just if you do the trial and error method I talk about a lot. I think everybody has a program that is best for them in the current present day, and so whenever you take a program from someone else, it's probably not going to work that well for you. It could, but it probably won't last at the very least, because it was built for someone else at a different point in time with a different build, a different fatigue level, a different way of lifting, whatever. They're completely different from you, so you're probably not going to be able to do their programming to the best of the ability that they did, So I like doing trial and error per what your experience has given to you, so that you know exactly what you can work on every single day in the present time. So I've written out about 3 months worth of blocks. There's 3 blocks to the full program cycle. And I really, really like how it looks. Statistically, it makes a lot of sense. And again, when you start getting into really heavy stuff with weightlifting, you kind of have to really give the program a lot of faith so that you can allow yourself to have these lighter days where you're just itching to do more. And then finally, when you get to that week when you can hit the rep max type weight, God, if I can dude, I can't even imagine. But imagine if I do something crazy like 315 for 6 on bench, holy fuck. And me doing 230 for 5 sets of 6 today, even though it's nowhere near that weight, is what I want to do to prepare myself to get closer and closer to that heavy shit. And even if I don't get to go as crazy as I want to on the rep max of 6 this block, when I get towards my rep max of 2, 3 blocks from now, 3 months later, that experience doing that heavyweight mixed with volume when it comes to the reps and the sets and the lower percentages will build me up until I can put everything into that very last part of the program where I can hit my peak strength, so it kind of sucks sometimes, Of course I want to push heavy shit. The guy I was working out with on bench was literally throwing 325 around like it was baby shit, and I was like, God damn it, I was hitting this last week, and I shot the shit with him because I love talking to people, but in my head I'm always like, man, I want to put on the 3 plates and bench with him. It'll hype you up, but again, that's not what I'm trying to do. I don't compare myself to others in that kind of way, and I'm not trying to battle against other people that I just randomly fucking meet in the gym. I'm trying to stick true to my program and commit fully to that discipline so that by the end of the program, I can really, really see what I need to work on. Because that's the whole point of the trial and error method. Of course you want to make progress, and of course you will if you're consistent and passionate and disciplined, but in the area, it is almost inevitable that you'll have parts of your program that you need to work on. Every time. Even if you make a ton of progress and get way stronger, there might be issues with technique, there might be issues with fatigue, core strength. Again, you might not get as strong as you want to in certain lifts. Like my bench could actually fall behind because of this style of programming. So I just don't know. But because I don't know right now, I have to give it the genuine faith. I'm not even a religious guy, but in the sense of having that raw faith that as long as you keep pushing forward and having that passion and progression for it, that discipline that will carry you the rest of the way, you'll make some progress for sure. It's just a matter of you got to be okay with not making 100% progress. Because it's just, even if you were doing a program that was built perfectly for you, we're only human. We are not robots. So you will never do a perfect cycle. It's just not how it works. And again, this is a really beautiful thing because the more and more you fail, the whole reason I've gotten so good at programming today and I've gotten so good and I trust the trial and error method so much is because I've done it so much. I've literally been doing this for 3 straight years now. It is an astronomical amount of time that I never thought that I would be doing for as long as I did. But again, I gave it that time and I gave it the ability to grow instead of just sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not strong enough. I'm just going to fucking throw everything as hard as I can tomorrow. And if I can't do it, then let the bar just take me. Like, fuck that shit. You're supposed to fail so that you can see where to work on for your next steps, thus having the faith in it. I know I'm being a bit too metaphorical when it comes to the religious stuff. That's a lot more complex than what I'm trying to get into. But I really like emphasizing and focusing on just the genuine positivity and I guess not just self-justification, but like acceptance for your own credit. I'm always saying you've got to give yourself credit where credit is due. Like whenever a parent sees a kid's report card that's all A's and 1 B, and then they say, where's the A? That to a point, I can understand. You want the kid to look at that B and be like, what can I do to do better next time? Instead of being like, oh, that's just all I caught and I'm not going to be able to make progress. I can understand that. But you also have to give that kid the fucking credit for the 4 A's they got. Like, good fucking God, those are good grades. Praise them for that shit. Because then they'll be able to keep that up and not only feel that need to push on and do a little bit better for that one class they made a B in, but they'll also remain passionate in all the other classes that they got good grades in. Because what happens a lot is people will lose passion in those certain types of things because it becomes so normalized to get certain levels of success in areas that they interact with every single day. Like, again, a kid who gets those kind of grades every single semester and they always have that 1 B, if they're not praised for those A's or they're not praised for at least the effort that they put in, while also reminding them to like try to work on what they need to do a little bit better on next time, then they'll lose that sense of want to actually remain passionate about it. It'll become an obligation. And that's why jobs suck so much. People go into it thinking that they can't derive any passion from it because they have to do it. And it's like, sure, in the most basic sense, you do have to go get a job. You got to make sure you feed yourself, and if you got family, whatever, all that type of stuff. But you can make a job passionate. it is all a mindset, and it is all up to you about how you view that job. Because either you can view that job with numbers and a paycheck and a means to an end, or you can be like, okay, well, I didn't do very good at this today in this job, so let's see if me doing a little bit better at this thing and changing a little bit of the way I do these things can make it a little bit more fun to work on at the end. And so literally you just treat these obligational things like a fucking game, is how I like to see it. Like right now, I love meeting as many people as humanly possible, not because I just want to have as many contacts as I can just in case, or I just feel like shooting the shit with people. It genuinely makes me passionate. I literally treat meeting people almost like a game. It's fun. Because every time I talk to someone, I get a little bit more social. I get a little bit more personable. I get to experience other people's experiences with them. And that I love deriving smaller, complex ideas from big general categories. You know, like talking to someone just to be social, sure, that's great. But sometimes I'm like, okay, well, I'm talking to this guy, and he's talking about this experience he had, and this kind of correlates to something that I've gone through in the past. I wonder what he did that I didn't. And so now you're picking up ways where you can do a little bit better than you did last time without even having to worry about it. You're just doing it involuntarily. So again, like giving a more of a means of passion and praise where that credit is due, especially in children, will make them want to work toward different things that they never knew they had in them, you know, rather than just treating these positives that they interact with every day as neutral things. You know, having food in front of you, having a house, having friends, having family, whatever you have in your daily life that you view as what's already going to be there every day, you will not know how good of a thing you have until you lose it. That's just how it is. If that's how you look at it. That's why people are always saying, like whenever people say, oh, you got to be more grateful, it's more complex than that. It's not just being more grateful. It's recognizing that these things are not just given to you. They're not just things that you should be expecting to get no matter what. You have those things in your daily life because you're upholding a sense of either responsibility, passion, consistency, discipline, whatever, you know. But those things that you get, those positives like food, you know, you got enough money for gas, stuff like that, just little things that people don't think about because they do it every single day. They are positive things. Just like how people will be like, oh, well, this job is gonna be shit and I got to do a 6-hour shift, but it's just the same as yesterday, so I'll just get through it and trudge through it. Like, what a shitty mindset, you know? Those are not just neutral things that you're supposed to push through. If you feel negatively about a thing that you go through every day, don't just expect it and be okay with it. Work toward a new goal or a new pathway of work that will allow you to have a bigger stem of growth. You know, that's literally how passion is made into existence. It's all mental constructs. It's all however much, I say it a lot, however negative you want to be is up to you. And just vice versa, same way otherwise, I'm going to be as positive as I want to. So when people are like, oh, well, you're not doing this and this and this, so you're probably not going to do well in this and this, I don't fucking care. I'm enjoying life. So why does anything else matter? If I have food on the table, I love the people I'm around, I got water and I got shelter, then everything else, who gives a fuck? You know? If you got those basic necessities, you know, especially if you have family, then after the biological needs, those little obligations that you got to get taken care of in the first place, just so that you can keep breathing and walking every day, beyond that, who gives a fuck? Who cares if you live paycheck to paycheck your whole entire life? I guess some people have a different mindset about that, and again, they are more passionate because they drive harder by wanting to make more money. That's fine, but that becomes a question of, it's not so material at that point. That's genuine passion. So just the same way, it's not about how much money you make or whatever. It's about what makes you drive, like it's what makes you the most enthralled every day, what keeps you interested. You know, everybody is like scrolling through their fucking shorts on their phone for hours every day, not because they want brain rot or they want to just feel this void of content or whatever. It's because the human brain needs constant new stimuli to stay active, you know, to keep that serotonin boost going. Everybody's addicted to serotonin. It's just how we're wired. It's what makes us passionate and happy. So This is why I'm in the gym almost every single day. You know, my rest days are almost my worst days of the week, not because I don't need that rest, but because I need to make sure I get out of the house and go do something else other than the gym to keep myself active and get that little serotonin boost. So even though I'm doing the same lifts every day, I'm still feeling different levels of passion every day. I'm putting in different effort into different lifts, into different ways, my technique, my form, my core, whatever. Everything I am pushing toward to have a new boost of serotonin, to have a new boost of passion that will lead to the most growth and happiness possible. That's the bottom line of it. So that's just the way I see it. I think it's in that way a little bit similar to like a religious kind of mindset where you're just putting this full faith, consistency, and discipline into something that you don't know if it's going to give you results, but it's that positivity and that mindset and that passion that you drive behind it that makes it as good as an experience as it could be. You know, I don't think it gets talked about a lot, but I don't think the importance of religion comes from the religion itself. I think the importance of religion comes from the mindsets behind it. You know, the positivity you can bring out of new perspective. So even if I don't believe in stuff like God and all that, that doesn't mean I can't believe similar mindsets and similar ways to remain passionate or be happy in life. Everybody's just a little bit different with the way they were cooked inside the belly. So take that shit with a grain of salt. That's all I gotta say. That's just my own little perspective on it. But, you know, I know it's a little convoluted when I make it like that, but I think it's a cool way to think about it. And it's always fun to throw a different perspective in. I don't think I've ever talked about it like that. It was a cool idea in my head and I'm like, fuck it, we're gonna run with it. But I appreciate anybody who wants to listen to it regardless, you know. Let me know how the lifts have been going. I love seeing how you guys are doing. And otherwise, just stay passionate, you know, keep doing your thing. You may not realize it, but you're probably doing better than you know. And you're probably more passionate than you're letting yourself be. So keep fucking doing it. And if you're feeling shitty, gotta change it up. That's all on you. So other than that, I am resting tomorrow, so you will not see me. So I'm sorry, but you know, I'll be back soon enough, and next day will be our full clean and jerk day with some clean and jerks, front squats, clean pulls. It's going hard in the paint. So I hope you stick around, and I appreciate you hearing me out. See ya.